So that's a really good segue into one of the questions that we talked about last week. We had some pretty strong reactions from the men's panel, so I want to extend it to you as well. How do you feel about people saying thank you for your service? Any thoughts on that?
I think it's different coming from a fellow veteran than it is coming from like somebody else. Sometimes sometimes I think it's disingenuous, and people are just saying this because they think they have to, and they're not really thankful, but they just, it's politically correct, I guess, to say thank you for your service. I mean, ask the veteran, like, when did you serve? What did you do? I mean, get to know what they did or when they served or how they're doing, because it's so hard coming home. It's just, I think it's I'll let
Yeah, I remember I rewatched that time when last week when the men were speaking about it, and I was kind of like, yeah, I totally get where everyone was coming from. I thought Lonny had a great perspective, coming from a Vietnam War era vet to now. And, I used to feel a certain way about it when people would say thank you. And, now I've come to peace with it. And I tell myself, I look at it as an act of being a patriot. If a citizen wants to say to someone that they know that has served in the military, thank you for your service, I look at it as whether they serve, if they didn't serve, maybe that's their small form of, being patriotic. They didn't serve, so they can they want to thank someone who did. And I when I started looking at it in that, using that approach, I just found that, when someone said that to me, I just say, oh, thank you back. Thank you for expressing that, because they didn't have to say anything. And yes, we haven't, one of the unique things about our military is we're an all volunteer force. And I think it should remain that way. So every single person that, has served, especially nowadays has been someone that volunteered. And, do we want to hear thank you? No, we don't need it, but if someone's going to go out of their way to say that, I'll take it.
Great. So we have another question that we also went over last week. What is your favorite charity that supports vets? Or what can those of us that didn't do, those of us that didn't serve, what can we do to support veterans? Amy, why don't you start?
Well, I think some of my favorite organizations nowadays are for, and this is something that I am just getting familiar with, but any organization that helps in bringing service dogs to veterans who need them. I think that they don't get enough attention, and I have a friend right now who's currently, his service dog passed away, and he's looking, and he needs it because he's got, he needs a seizure alert dog. And with his last service dog passing away, he had her for almost 13, 14 years. And, it's going to be 2 years, I think, until he gets another one. And it's going to cost, I think, $30,000, because it costs that much money to get them trained up for whatever service they're providing, especially for like a seizure is a very specific thing. So I think, honestly, I think just any organization that's helping veterans who need service dogs is good. But as far as, what someone can do, I would say, the best can do is volunteer your time. And if it's going down to, helping with a local organization that maybe helps, assist homeless veterans, or, maybe it's just finding just any time that you can give. And it doesn't necessarily have to be to an organization. It can be just if you know a veteran, ask, hey, do you need help with anything? Or is there anything that is on your radar that maybe I can help out with or connect you to? Or, if even if that one person doesn't need anything, or, for themselves, they probably know someone who does. and even helping at the local VA office. There's different organizations that are in your local area that the VA can connect you to that does something specifically for veterans. And I think also I think it's important to that there are some organizations that don't help, like pre 9/11 veterans. I think that just anything you can do for any veteran, whether it's a pre 9/11 or post 9/11, there shouldn't be a differentiation, because I know that there are some services that only help a certain class, and just finding that in your community, finding where there might be a need or a void.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for me is helping there's so many homeless veterans, and there's got to be a way to help more of them. And I know a lot of it is maybe going down to your local food bank and feeding the poor, or just, I would think that would be the best. I would think that would be the best. I mean, the dog, I can't, the service dogs, but
yeah, even even if you don't have the time, or you don't have the mobility to go, to go drive far, or that you can, there's phone lines that I know are always needing people to help out with, like hotlines for veterans that need help, because that's a big thing, is
suicide.
Veterans committing suicide. Yeah, suicide, the hotlines.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. One of the questions that we didn't address last week that I want to bring up with you is, did political viewpoints come up during your service in the divisive way that we see now in society? Or you mentioned before, sorry, that everybody was like your sibling or your family when you were in the service. Did that kind of override political viewpoints?
Well, when I was in the 92 to 97, I was in the Don't Ask, Don't Tell thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I think most of the political viewpoints didn't come across. I mean, we were all just Marines. I mean, not saying that we all thought the same way,
mm-hmm.
but being a Marine and doing your common goal was overrode in anything. I mean, knowing that this person had my back, that was all I needed. I didn't have to agree with him. He didn't have to agree with me. That's what it was. I mean, in my era, and I know Amy served a little after I did. It was not a big deal at all. And there was not the big political differences.
Go ahead, Amy.
Well, there's certainly, I mean, I was in from a little bit longer time. I was in from 98 to 2011, and there was a lot of controversy that happened during that time. I mean, in the time I was active duty, Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. So, and then there was, I know there was so much that happened. I want to say that, although that we never really sat around and talked about our political views, because we were all reporting to the same commander in chief at the end of the day. And so I think that it was taken more on a personal level, I'll just as an example, when I was active duty, I know people. I've served with people who were, at the time they couldn't, when Don't Ask, Don't Tell was enforced, I knew people who were gay and lesbian. I know one of my close friends who I served with when we were drill instructors together. He's I say he, but when I knew him, he was a she. And we've had to address and have those conversations. And it's I want to say, because we knew the person and because we had the same mission, it made it easier that even though maybe the group of us that were in this unit or in this shop working together, even though we know, okay, this person came from this background, this person came from that background, this is who this person is, this is who this person is, we were able to put it aside and not really focus on the differences. We focused on what we were trying to accomplish as a unit. And I think that's what makes, that's what makes being in the service so unique, because, I find that unfortunately in the climate we're in now, it's getting harder and harder for people to focus on what brings us together rather than what differences that we may have. And, I think we should celebrate our differences, or even and that includes our points of view, because we all think a certain way, or feel a certain way because of our experiences, and we just need to find the commonalities between us.
So last week when we were speaking with the gentlemen, they had quite a range of experience around guns. I think Brian was saying that when he was active, he hardly ever touched a gun, whereas some of the other folks had. But you both said that you are Marines, and so your gun was always there with you. Did you have a favorite service weapon that maybe you miss, or basically give us your opinions on either what your favorite gun is now or what your favorite gun was in the service? Make us jealous.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
I was in the Marine Corps, so I was in the Air Wing. So I didn't really touch a gun except for our once a year qualification test. Then I shot the M16, and that's basically all I shot in boot camp or in the service. And really, I kind of missed shooting the M16 because I was used to it. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm partial. I use a Springfield Armory 9mm. And that's my gun of choice, and that's what I carry with me.
Amy?
Well, I grew up around guns, and when I say that, I shouldn't really say I grew up around guns. I knew that there were guns in my household, but I was never, I was kind of indifferent about them. I grew up in San Diego, California, so it wasn't very, in California, it's not very common, I guess, that guns are, used, I mean, I know they are, but just not as, as it is here in Texas, I should say, where I'm at. But I first touched a gun, shot a gun when I was in the military. It was at boot camp. I learned everything. This all started when I, went to boot camp. And from there, like Jennifer, also, I was in the Air Wing. So I only really shot the M16, once a year when we did our annual qualifications. And then things changed when I went to Parris Island and became a drill instructor. And then I also was a marksmanship instructor. Sorry, I'm getting distracted because one of the car's alarms going off. Sorry if you guys hear that. But anyway, so I shot, then I was around guns all the time. And when I was a drill instructor, I mean, I taught, rifle drill, and we always had, I mean, I was around M16s for like 4 years straight, teaching about them. When I was a PMI, I'd teach the recruits about marksmanship fundamentals and, proper stance and grip, all that stuff. And when I got out, and then when I became a staff NCO, because in the Marine Corps, you actually don't shoot pistols until unless your job requires it or you're a certain rank. So once I became a staff sergeant, then I started qualifying with the M9, which is equivalent to a Beretta 92. And I sucked at the pistol, but it's different when you're transitioning from a rifle to a pistol. And then, now firearms, I mean, I was blown away by how much I didn't know about guns. Because and as a Marine, we also were, and I don't know if Jennifer went through this, but I went through Marine combat training. I don't think females went through Marine combat training back in 92, but I did. And, we had a chance to, after boot camp, we go to, all Marines do, whether you're infantry or not, we go to, combat training. And I had a chance to shoot. I mean, I don't even know what I shot. It was a lot, but we shot all kinds of different guns. And that was really the extent of my experience when I was active duty. But now that I've been out and I'm in the firearms industry, I mean, I have so much knowledge, and now more so than I did in the military. But I do carry. I'm a concealed carry instructor as well, and I do. My favorite gun to carry is a Sig Sauer P938 9mm. I'm also partial to. I like the Glock 19 just as an everyday gun, and those are, I guess, the two that I shoot the most as far as handguns go.